Hello everybody, Dokkan here. Welcome to another Dokkan battle video. So, I want to chat a little bit regarding power creep, everything that has transpired ever since the Global Dokkan campaign, ever since the Transcendent Dokkan campaign, and things like that. And just as the title of the video shows, or the thumbnail of this video shows, has power creep gone too far? That is one of my beliefs, I feel. So typically when we do our stuff, our shenanigans in Dokkan, right, it has been a lot more quiet now than previous years, and it's because of the transition that they've gone on with Dokkan switching with the sync, and those two be merged together now, and this is how they're going to operate for the rest of the year. This is something that we're going to possibly have to try to get used to, right? So with that in mind, I feel like this is just going to be a two-part video regarding the power creep and how it has gone way uphill, whilst the design philosophy for Dokkan has gone downhill, I feel. So let's go ahead and get started here real quick. So I'm gonna go through the selection of events that we have gone recently, and of course just dictate how bad it has gone ever since, right? So earlier this year, we got the Ultimate Red Zones for the 10th anniversary, right? We got the Goku story red zone, then we also got the Vegeta story red zone, and I don't believe most of these were, in a word, challenging, but also intimidating. These were simple events that you would know, oh well, these are events that you're going to take on, that there shouldn't be any problems whatsoever taking on these, right? And then lo and behold, within new, we had another stage coming in, and it basically kickstarted the whole view of how power creep was going to be, where in past years we've had like events such as this one, right? The Tremble with Fear, the Double Awakens, right? Just to take it as an example. And we had an event where we had some missions here, and most of these are like, well, 200 million HP. It was a little bit difficult trying to take these bosses down because of X, Y, and Z and the things that these bosses were able to do, right? Take it a step further here, without approaching the 10th anniversary just yet. We had one of the tougher events in the game prior to the 9th anniversary, which was the Goku and Frieza. This event was hell, but with the sort of I would say unbalance that Dokkan had. They had priorities. JP had the worst section of this, and it was a pretty tough event for JP, but for Global, it was an easy takedown. And I feel like Global had it a little bit, dare I say, easy. So the mismatch was present. So then we roll over to the 10th anniversary, and everything got matched up to the point that Global and JP were to celebrate the anniversary together. Then we found some sort of power creep, right? Battle Hard and Formidable Foes, for example, was a pretty tough event on release, and I'm gonna mention that before somebody mentions in the comments oh well, right now you can be able to use tougher characters that we have gotten and be able to stroll by this easy as pie, right? I understand that. I will give you that. However, the damage, we started to see an increase of that. So we had a 2.8 million attack stat on Goku and Frieza, which I thought that for now was the highest one. And then it switched gears, and everybody's just starting to hit a little bit harder moving forward. So we moved past that. Then we had this ultimate clash that I remember in the anniversary up against Great Ape Super Baby 2, I believe it was. And his HP was about 1.2 billion with a B. And we're thinking to ourselves, like, there's no way that these people, like, pushed the needle and said, yes, this is the amount of HP that these people are going to get from now on. And yeah, they did. So they did that as well with the red zones and the final stages of these, where they introduced 1.5 billion HP on these bosses. But it took us ages to take down. But, you know, you had to be careful because every single turn that passed and every single super that was performed, this guy got buffed. Granted, his damage was low, but again, this is an increase of 80% attack and defense every single time he supers, and he super attacks twice. So then that's when we started to see a little bit of an increase on the power creep. So it all started from there. And then we started shifting gears after the anniversary. You know, this is not a significantly tough event to say that, oh my god, power creep is there, because this event was designed with stackers in mind. You had to stack all the way to the very further end. I had to go page down. And then you never imagine yourself fighting bosses with 2 billion HP with this amount of damage, or the previous amount of damage. Because at this point you have been stacking this much to the point that you're going to see your units' defense pretty high, consistently around maybe like 5 million and things like that. And some of the damage that these guys are able to do can destroy your units, but either some of them can either dodge some of these attacks or just absolutely nullify some of the damage that these guys are able to deliver. So you think to yourself, oh well, it's easy, people have been able to take this down. It doesn't excuse it to be one of the worst events in the game, and I'm sorry, I will take any excuse to shit on this event every single time it appears on my Periscope, but that's not the point here. So we move on to something called Seriously Serious All-Out Battles. I believe we had this recently at the beginning of this year. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, we had this in April. And I will tell you this, some of these bosses are not super horrible, right? 580 million HP. Granted, that's a lot of HP, right? And this is just standard damage, but there are some details here and there that you had to do. So many other missions that you had to do as well in order for you to take down some of these bosses, right? 400 million HP. Let's go over here, Broly. 200 million. Then this Goku right here, 430 million. It's just, there are some certain points that this can be a very devastating instance to like try to take down these fights, but they're not undoable. They're like not impossible to take down. We don't care about Million Arena. But then we proceed to move to the Global Dokkan campaign content, and we got this fight, where I apologize, but this was brutal. This is one of the hardest fights in the game. It is considered still one of the hardest fights in the game. And we see this and it's like, oh, well, 400 million HP, 250 million HP. It doesn't seem like a lot, but when you take into consideration, oh, this guy heals 10% of his HP all the time. He locks. His super attack is 4.8 million damage. This guy, every single time you hit him, he gets buffed every single time he receives an attack. And this is a 3.75 million super, where he raises his attack every single time he does a super. And he does an AoE. It's horrifying to go into these events when back in the day, what we used to do whenever events like this came up, they do it now. Well, at least every now and then, but before that, they were able to promote teams that you had to use in order for you to take down some of these fights. For example, the release of Jiren declared some of the missions to actually take this down with a Universe 11 team. All right, well, you know, it's not super hard, but it is what it is. But then we get fights like, let's say, this one. and you have certain missions. You have to beat this with a like a full UR team, or you have to beat this with certain characters from a certain category, and things like that, things of that nature. And like the power creep nowadays have gone, I feel, out of control. So let's just take, for example, this fight. 680 million HP with a 4.5 million super. This guy logs. He gets attack plus 100% when his HP is 50% or less. Like, he raises its attack on super. There's like, you can circumvent this because, oh, it's a Ki Blast super. You can bring characters that can nullify his attack and things like that. And he hits pretty dang hard on his normals. But that's not to say, like, oh, I can take an OG team, right? Because that's what the fun of Dokkan used to be, at least for me. Going through some of these events, right? I did a video earlier, a few days. I think I'm gonna try to upload this tomorrow because it's gonna be pretty busy. I'm recording this prior to the reveal of the new Dokkan Fest and the whole live stream event happening over in Japan. So yeah, Union Master, man. I did the stage 12 and I was like, oh, you know, I see myself having a little bit of fun with this event and see if I can use the Buhan team, right? And I couldn't destroy Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta. I don't think I got past Super Saiyan Gogeta because it's just like the power creep is there. You can feel it. Yeah, it's a 2.2 million super, but like when this character, like, he only supers once. Interesting. When the super attack just jumps in and does a super attack immediately as you spawn in, it makes it unfun to enjoy some of these fights with old teams. Same with this Supreme Magnificent Battle. This came up after the Global Dokkan campaign. And when we got this stage right here, we thought to ourselves, there's no way that these guys are gonna like absolutely decimate us. 1.1 million normals. These guys, is it these guys that do an AoE? No, they might not. But like the damage that this guy ramps up, yes, you can say, oh, well, these fights are easy to take down. Dude, 1.4 billion HP. Yes, you can circumvent this. Trying to take down some of these fights as quickly as you can. That's good. But the moment you step in here on maybe like turn 3 or turn 4, if you haven't taken this guy down, this guy is going to take you down. Like, it's pretty redonkulous, I would say. And then just looking at the positive, like, general aspect of things, whenever Dokkan releases a new card, they seem very undertuned or very underwhelming in their performance and their design. So I mentioned this previously. It's like, oh, we have to blame Omatsu for the releases of some of these characters, right? Oh, Omatsu, it's his fault that we got Mercenary Tao. Like, Tao killed the game. Oh, it was his fault. Or, no, we can't blame the producers for this. And maybe I got it all wrong. I'm just gonna not shoot myself in the foot if I am making a mistake here. If I am, I'll take myself accountable for it. However, I'm just gonna say right now, I don't think it's Omatsu's fault. Omatsu is a producer, meaning that he's able to showcase to each and every single one of us what's coming into the game. I feel like there is some sort of QA team, like there has to be a tester in the background that sort of develops the design for these characters, and then the QA team just shows up and says, oh, you know, we're gonna give the green light for these characters, so it's gonna be fine, or we're just gonna give them the X because no, not yet, there's not the period for the release, blah blah blah, whatever reason they want to come up with. But the main reason I'm talking about this is, like, they are approving the release of characters that are way undertuned in contrast to the events that we have nowadays. Like taking on some of these stages, some of these events is downright unbearable to do, even when like releases post global Dokkan campaign are happening. So right now, Omega's team, this character released on July, like post global Dokkan campaign, still one of the best units in the game. If you don't bring this guy on most of the events in the game, like you're done. You're done. There's nothing I can tell you. So whenever they do things like this, again, undertuned characters, whenever they release these, is just an uncomfortable feeling, man. It just makes it a little bit unbearable to just go into the game and create a team and enjoy yourself, like I was trying to do with the Union Master stage. It doesn't work. So really does pain me to see everything that's going on here, right? That most of the stuff that's happening in the game is just completely, like, the events themselves completely overwhelm the state of the game. And that's one of the many things that I was talking about. Like, not a lot of people are enjoying themselves in the meta that we have because it's more of the same. Oh, you don't bring Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta into these events, you're gonna get cooked. Oh, you don't bring the Blue Goku or Rose into some of these new events, you're gonna get cooked. You don't bring Omega into some of these new events, you're gonna get cooked. And even the 10th anniversary characters can't even contend sometimes, keyword sometimes, with these types of events here, bro. Like, I gotta check what was the previous team that I used for this event and give it a little bit of a comparison. Did I use the Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta in here? Did I use Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta to take it down? Did I use any 10th anniversary characters to take down some of these fights? To even state, yes, 10th anniversary characters are still decently good. Yes, they're useful. Don't underestimate them. They're still fine, right? No. 10th anniversary characters have gotten like superbly like power crept. Let me take a look at the last team that I used for Rose's fight. It was GT Heroes. And guess who was there? Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Like, there's not a lot we can do, man. Let me see the Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta stage. The blue fusions. These guys. So anything post Global Dokkan campaign and anything post Transcendent Dokkan campaign can be taken down with the characters that came up during that time frame. And anything before or even after that, you know, prior to us reaching the 11th anniversary, because I'm assuming that those characters are going to be absolutely superbly broken. Characters like these can't even contend with the content that we have, and it just makes it a little bit unbearable. These events right here, like, I woke up to this, right? I saw Toon Rummy taking on his event right there, and I saw this, and I never thought to myself, you know, there shouldn't be any issues with this, right? Enemy receives 100,000 damage per Rainbow Keystone tank. And there's somebody over here as well. I don't know who it is. It's like they change key spheres. Somebody is changing key spheres. It's weird that their effect is not listed. But somebody is changing key spheres of a certain type to either blank to blank, or like blank to physical, I think I remember. Every like other type of orb is changed to physical, and then after that, some of the physical orbs get changed to rainbow key spheres. And then you have to be careful with what Fascia does, because Fascia, basically it's a field of bombs in the middle of the field. Granted, this is just, I feel like it's a more of a gimmicky type of fight, but dude, 5 million damage on super on an event that it's like a short form content. I think the clones, I've seen people taking this down with the clones, which again, content before, like content post Transcendent Dokkan campaign, or content post Global Dokkan campaign, with characters that have released after that that are not good. This guy's decent, but he needs to get hit a lot in order for him to do damage. This guy's good, but you need to make sure that you're in an event that you can actually just dodge, because most of the time he will absolutely get decimated if he does get hit by a pretty strong super. You need to have a youth team, or for the youth team to actually like really be decent, and these guys can actually be really good. The youth right now is looking pretty grim. Apart from some of the recent buffs that we got, I feel like this guy can be absolutely cooking. But you guys know what I mean, right? It's like I'm trying my best to look forward into the future and say to ourselves, these Dokkan Fest that should come out should be still like very, very good to take on the events. Granted, maybe I'm doing a little bit of a bitch and whining and moaning regarding how good you can be able to take Super Baby 1 / Super Baby 2 on an event like this, where there are actually no sort of types of restrictions in here that actually can say, oh, we nullify dodge, buddy, you can't dodge. So some of these dodge or die characters can still be useful. Granted, it's either dodge or you die, because Baby gets hit with a super attack from Samasu, he gets Thanos snapped. He gets evaporated. So it just makes it unbearable that after they keep on instilling you to summon for characters like these that they release, right? I mean, you have the willpower to skip, but if you do summon for these characters and you don't have the they don't have the wherewithal to actually just go in here and dominate the content that's in the game, apart from the 4 characters that are listed in here, right, are able to actually just go ahead and cook all of those stages, then we're losing the plot here. Then, like, we can typically just use the GT Heroes team to just obliterate the rest of the game. But what does that say to the other characters that have been released? What does that say about this character? What does that say about Super Baby 1? It's painful to even just look at the content for the game. It's like, well, Tao ruined the game, man. He messed things up. Tao is awful, absolutely annoying. And it's like, okay, but Tao is good. I don't understand the misconception here. What's going on? I mean, Tao is pretty freaking good on release. It kind of reminds me of Buhan when he came out. But people were complaining that Tao killed the game? No. They themselves are shooting themselves in the foot, because the design philosophy that these cards have is not optimal. It's not up to par with what we want. It's not good. So, yeah, like, again, I don't want to go super extensively long, because I think this is a 2-part video. I do want to talk about the design philosophy regarding Dokkan, how it has gone like super over the top, like really, really good, to then just downhill from there, and just making some very weird decision or weird choices selecting some of these like really top picks for a Dokkan Festival character or an LR, right? Not to mention the fact that we have more LRs released this year than we have TURs. Like actual really good Dokkan Fests. So, but yeah, let me know down in the comments below what do you guys think. I still am a firm believer that, yeah, power creep has gone extensively far in comparison to how we should be able to take on content nowadays. Like, I don't want to rely every single time on Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta to take down a fight. Granted, I mean, he is very fun to use. He is one of the most coolest characters that was released this year. But I want to try and use some of the older characters that I pulled without having to rely on an easy A to save them. Or use a character that recently released on an event that can be super difficult, but their performance over there is less than optimal in there. I don't know. I also don't want it to be like Legends, where Legends' design philosophy is like, oh, you don't summon for the latest Ultra, you might be screwed, buddy. So, but yeah, I'll talk about all these other things in the design philosophy video that I am possibly going to make. So that's going to be it for the video. Let me know down in the comments below what do you guys think. I feel like power creep has made it so far into the game that it has rendered the enjoyment of Dokkan rather moot or pointless. And I don't want it to be like that. I really want this to be like an enjoyable experience, an enjoyable time. Just jumping into the game, utilizing different teams to take on the new content that we got, or the newest teams and the newest characters with the new content that we got, and absolutely not shit the bed. So, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Appreciate you guys stopping by watching this. I'll see you guys all in the next one.